Okay, everybody, we have an interview today with Tommy Stowell. He has a new movie coming out called Room for Rent, starring America's favorite septuagenarian, Lynn Shay. This movie is coming out May 7th. We saw it. It was a pretty darn good movie. I enjoyed it.
Very much so.
Yep. And we sat down with Tommy and we have an interview right now. Okay, so Tommy, we have your movie is Room for Rent, and this is going on. Is going to be streaming May 7th. Is that correct?
That's right. It's released May 7th. It'll be on DVD and video on demand on all the usual platforms, cable, satellite, all that good stuff.
Okay, and that is distributed by Uncorked?
That's right.
Okay. And this is, from what I was saying, because I was, checking IMDb and everything else, is this your fourth feature that you've directed?
Yeah, it is. It's my fourth feature film.
Okay. And I had seen one other. Before seeing Room for Rent, I actually watched Aaron's Blood. I saw that on Prime.
Oh, cool.
And I really enjoyed that one as well.
I think I might have missed that one.
It's on
well, thank you.
Well, I'll definitely give that one a second visit. I enjoyed that. Now, your other films, you wrote and directed those, correct?
Yeah, my first three films I wrote and directed. This one, Room for Rent, is the first one I didn't write. I actually found the script from another writer whose name is Stuart Flack. And I love the script, so I wanted to make it. And so I optioned it from him and went from there.
Okay.
What attracted you specifically to the script? What was it about the script?
Well, I really liked the main character of Joyce, and I thought she was just very interesting, and I thought she was funny and tragic, and I also had the idea when I was reading the script, I had the idea of approaching Lynn Shay to play her, and so that's what I did, and luckily she said yes, but once she was on board, I thought it was a really fun opportunity, and I thought it was a good opportunity, for her to show what she can do as well.
Okay, great. And this is actually what your third time working with Lynn Shay?
It is, yeah. She was in my first two films. This is the first time, she was in such a major role. This one, she's the main character, and she's pretty much in just about every scene as well. So I got to work with her, much longer this time, and we worked a lot together even before we started shooting. So it was a really fun experience.
Yeah, because it's always a treat when you see Lynn Shay. Of course now, as of the last decade, she's had this big boom, for the Conjuring series and everything. But heck, I remember her, all the way back from, Nightmare on Elm Street, and in fact, we were just watching Critters, and there was Lynn Shay and almost everything that New Line did,
Oh yeah, she's been in lots of stuff, and she plays so many different kinds of characters. She's so versatile, and so she's quite a scene stealer in my opinion.
Yeah, and if you don't mind, because you can do the film more justice than I possibly can you give a brief synopsis of the film?
Yeah, sure. The film is about a woman whose husband dies, and she's left on her own for the first time in her life, and and she's left without a lot of money, so she has to figure out how to take care of herself. And she also is sort of a stranger to the outside world because she's been kept. She was under control of her husband, most of her life, and now that she's without him, she's able to step out on her own and come out of her shell a little bit. And she decides that she's going to turn her house into a bed and breakfast to make some money. And so she does that, and she starts renting a room out to these people and exposing herself to people that she's never really been around before, and she finally comes across this young man, this drifter, sort of mysterious character, and he ends up becoming a long-term tenant, and she kind of turns him into the object of her deepest fantasies. And so the story kind of goes from there. She becomes obsessed with this a person who isn't aware that she's quite obsessed with him, and so she makes quite a transformation in the film.
Yeah, I had seen, I think it was on IMDb, one review said that the film was, like a fatal attraction for the Airbnb generation.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
Yeah, Dina had read that to me yesterday. I'm like, yeah, we've got to get that into the interview tomorrow because that is a nice little nutshell of a description.
Yeah. Well, I thought the story was timely as well. With the latest B&B craze, I thought it was topical.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and one thing that going back to Lin Shaye, and I was telling Michelle while we were watching it, I said it's amazing because even at her her creepiest moments, you can go from being creeped out, and then the next scene absolutely wanting to hug her. She's like adorable in one instance when she's smiling and giddy, and then really creepy, and then go back to being adorable again. Like even things that happen at the end of the movie, I'm looking going, I want to hug her.
Yeah, I think that's what's so amazing about her performance is you really have empathy for her character. People really like the character, which I thought was, one reason I like the story is that you really like this character who does some pretty unlikable things. And and you're right. She goes from, she's so subtle in her performance, and you can read all kinds of stuff going on underneath the surface, and it's quite compelling, in my opinion.
Right. And I think another thing is, there were some things that happened to her in this movie that, as a viewer, I mean, we were getting mad. I mean, we were like, those little sons of bitches, And
yeah.
For a character like that to get such empathy out of a viewer when she's not all there, it is amazing. And
you can kind of understand what makes her go over the edge, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
It's implied in the film that she had an abusive relationship with her husband, and just all the mistreatment and all the regrets and all the abuse that she's endured, is sort of, it makes her express it in a totally awkward and sometimes dark way. But the way she does it, you can kind of understand, what causes her to go there.
Well, from a woman's perspective, and a woman who used to read a lot of romance novels, it was her chance to escape into one of them.
That's right. That's right.
She found a doorway, she found a chance, and she's like, okay, I'm going to leave this life that I've never enjoyed, and I'm going to escape.
You're right. She's spent her life escaping in romance novels, and she finally decides that she's gonna make one of those stories her own and live her own romance novel, and so it's quite interesting.
Definitely.
Yeah, and and aside from her object of her affection, she also finds kind of a younger version of herself, originally. With the young couple that comes in and is, an abusive relationship in and of itself.
Right. Yeah. She becomes friends, with one of her guests, a young woman, and she does. I think she sees herself in her, and this woman reaches out to her and is so nice and tries to help her, and it touches her, and so she really wants to have a relationship with this woman as well. And unfortunately, she ends up feeling betrayed, by this really good friend that she thinks she has, and that's just spurs her her reactions a little bit more.
Right. So, do you have anything else?
Not that I can think of at the moment, but I know the moment's in the moment. We're not going to get this back again. But no, I don't have anything.
Right. So, well, I mean,
I will say I knew nothing about, Dino told me that he had a movie that we were going to watch, and I had known, very, very little about it, if anything at all. And I kind of like watching movies not knowing what they're about.
Yeah.
I'm that way too.
Yeah, and I had seen the trailer, and so really that's all I said. I said it's kind of a thriller with Lin Shaye.
That was pretty much what I got.
and really, sometimes that's all you need. So, but yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully, it's. I think a lot of people who've seen it don't quite know what it's going to turn out to be when they first start watching it, which is what our hope was. It has some surprises in there, and a couple of twists and turns, and you don't quite know where it's going, all the time. But
yeah, and that's what I like. Something that kind of you're watching it and it kind of unravels, as opposed to kind of spelling everything out. In the first act, you can predict something, beat for beat for beat, and it's refreshing to see something that you jump on and you take the ride, and you're being led somewhere, as opposed to just knowing that you're sitting down and just going around in circles. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, hopefully that's the case.
Is there anything in particular that you would like, that we haven't necessarily asked, that you would want to share about the film?
Well, like I said, it does come out May 7th, and we have a website. If anyone wants to look up where it's available, we'll have all that listed on our website, and that is RoomForRentTheMovie.com.
Okay.
And we have links to our social media sites and all that good stuff. So just follow us, and we'll keep everyone updated on where they can see it.
Okay, perfect. Fantastic. And after Room for Rent, do you have anything else planned that you're doing?
Yeah, we have another project. We hopefully will get off the ground sometime this year. It's another psychological thriller, and we'll see. It's called Condition of Return, and hopefully we'll get around to making that very soon.
Okay. Well, fantastic. Tommy Stowell, I really appreciate you sitting down with us. And
well, my pleasure. Thank you for having me. Really.
all right. And once again, May 7th, VOD and on disc, put out by Uncorked. And this is Room for Rent.